8:32 right now. Let's go to live pictures right now. This is happening not too far from D.C. The president expected to speak momentarily. Right now, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth speaking to top military leaders there at Quantico, Virginia. It's a rare meeting, bringing all these people together in one spot. Let's listen in.
This also means grooming standards. No more beards, long hair, superficial individual expression. We're going to cut our hair, shave our beards, and adhere to standards. Because it's like the broken windows theory of policing. It's like when you let the small stuff go, the big stuff eventually goes. So you have to address the small stuff. This is on duty, in the field, and in the rear. If you want a beard, you can join special forces. If not, then shave. We don't have a military full of Nordic pagans. But unfortunately, we have had leaders who either refuse to call BS and enforce standards, or leaders who felt like they were not allowed to enforce standards. Both are unacceptable. And that's why today, at my direction, the era of unprofessional appearance is over. No more beardos. The era of rampant and ridiculous shaving profiles is done. Simply put, if you do not meet the male-level physical standards for combat positions, cannot pass a PT test, or don't want to shave and look professional, it's time for a new position or a new profession. I sincerely appreciate the proactive efforts the secretaries have already taken in some of those areas, service secretaries. And these directives are intended to simply accelerate those efforts. On the topic of standards, allow me a few words to talk about toxic leaders. Upholding and demanding high standards is not toxic. Enforcing high standards, not toxic leadership. Leading warfighters toward the goals of high, gender-neutral, and uncompromising standards in order to forge a cohesive, formidable, and lethal Department of War is not toxic. It is our duty, consistent with our constitutional oath. Real toxic leadership is endangering subordinates with low standards. Real toxic leadership is promoting people based on immutable characteristics or quotas instead of based on merit. Real toxic leadership is promoting destructive ideologies that are an anathema to the Constitution and the laws of nature and nature's God, as Thomas Jefferson wrote in the Declaration of Independence. The definition of toxic has been turned upside down, and we're correcting that. That's why today, at my direction, we're undertaking a full review of the department's definitions of so-called toxic leadership, bullying, and hazing, to empower leaders to enforce standards without fear of retribution.
You've been listening to the Pentagon Chief, Secretary of Defense or War, as it's now sometimes referred to, Pete Hegseth, speaking to a group of military leaders there at Quantico. Sort of unheard of to have all these people together in one spot. It made news quite a bit in the last few days leading up to this. We are expecting to hear from the president as well. We're going to continue to keep our eye on the situation. And if any big news comes of this, we'll be sure to let you know. Right now, the secretary is speaking about enforcing new guidelines that members of the military need to abide by.
I imagine we're going to hear some more about this just based on what we were able to hear in the few moments that we listened. And we should also keep in mind that this comes as the government heads toward a possible shutdown, with that deadline happening at midnight tonight. So again, we'll be following this throughout the day, bringing you updates here on our newscast as well as streaming on WCNC Plus.